So we will discuss about sedimentation, decantation, filtration, evaporation and condensation. First, sedimentation. First is the definition. The process of separating insoluble solids suspended in a liquid by allowing them to settle down is called sedimentation. So here the solid gets settled down. This process is known as sedimentation. The solid component that settle down during sedimentation is known as sediments. And after sedimentation, when we pour the clearer upper liquid without disturbing the sediments is called decantation. The process by which two substances are separated by passing the mixture through a filtering device is known as filtration. Now let us discuss about the methods. Have you seen pulses being washed in your home? Of course. Now when the pulses are kept in a bowl of water, what generally happens? The heavier pulses get settled down as they are heavy. However, dirt, insects, tiny pieces of straw and other lighter impurities, it generally floats at the top. So what we do now, the water which contains these impurities is then poured out and discarded. We generally throw it. So here we are using two methods, sedimentation and decantation. Next, the mixture of sand and water can also be separated by using sedimentation and decantation. So here what happens, if we take muddy water, here this is the muddy water. When we keep this water undisturbed for some time, we observe that heavier mud or sand will get settled down at the bottom of the vessel. So this process is known as sedimentation. After sedimentation, what we do, we generally pour the clear liquid into another beaker without disturbing the sediment, that is the mud that is settled down. So this is how we generally use two methods, sedimentation and decantation, to separate the mud from water. Decantation can also be used to separate two immiscible liquids or a liquid and a solid substance. Immiscible liquid means two liquids that do not mix up. For example, oil and water are two immiscible liquids. So here we generally use sedimentation and decantation. The oil, as it is lighter, it will float over water. So we generally pour the oil into another beaker, and what will remain in the other beaker will be water. So this is how we generally use sedimentation and decantation to separate immiscible liquids, for example oil and water. Next is filtration, the process by which two substances, an insoluble solid and a liquid, that means the solid must be insoluble in the liquid, are separated by passing the mixture through a filtering device is called filtration. So for this we require a filtering device. So here this is a filter paper. How to use this filter paper? We need to fold this filter paper in this way and make a cone shape. And now this cone shape filter paper we need to insert inside this funnel. Now the liquid, when it is poured inside this funnel, the liquid will pass through this funnel and the solid impurities will remain in the filter paper. So the insoluble solids will remain in the filter paper and all the liquid will pass through this funnel. So this is how we use this filtering device to separate insoluble solids and liquid. So filtration is commonly used in our home also. For example, when we prepare tea, we filter the tea leaves using a strainer. And one more example is we generally use filtration to remove the pulp from fresh fruit juices. Water may also sometimes contains solid impurities, so we use a cotton cloth to remove that solid impurities. So here also we are using filtration. During filtration, the insoluble solids retain in the filtering device, whereas the liquid pass through it. It is important that the particles of insoluble solid are bigger than the holes of the filtering device for them to retain. If the solid impurity size is smaller than the filtering device, it will pass through the filtering device. A filter paper is a filtering device that has very fine pores in it. So the sand particle or impurities remain in the filter paper and liquid pass through it. Next is evaporation. Evaporation is the process of converting liquid into gas or vapor. And this process is generally used to separate salt from seawater or salty seawater. So how this is done? They generally make some shallow pits and keep the seawater in this shallow pits. So due to the heat of the sun, all the water will get evaporated, and what will remain in the pit? It will be the solid salt. This salt we cannot use directly. We need further purification, and after that you can use this common salt in our food and other items. Next is condensation. It is just opposite. The process in which gases changes into liquid is called condensation. In nature, water vapor in air condenses to form liquid forms such the dew. We generally observe the dew because of the condensation process. When the condensation takes place, when this vapor come on a cool surface, generally this vapor changes into water. So here you can see the vapor, when it comes in contact with the cool plate, all the vapor, that means it is in gaseous state earlier, changes into liquid state. So this is how the condensation takes place. Thank you.